Has anyone here ever, anyone had a loved one who's gone through it?
Yep.
How many hands are in the room, right? This is not a Dementia 101 at all. Just a couple little facts. If I think about when I was on the news before really learning and diving into this, I just thought like maybe 5 or 6 types of dementia you might get. Like Alzheimer's is the number one. There's vascular dementia. Then we have Lewy body dementia, frontotemporal dementia, right? But there's over 100 different forms of dementia someone can get. Dementia is an umbrella term because it's a symptom of something. You know, a healthy brain weighs about 3 pounds. Someone who lives through Alzheimer's, for example, your brain deteriorates to about 1 pound. You lose 2 pounds of brain matter throughout this process. It's very sad, it's unfortunate, but I hope that right now we are in the age of finding a cure, because recently, you know, they found the genetic makeup or the markers for Alzheimer's. That was a huge breakthrough. You know, who knows what the future holds. Say in 10, 20 years, yes, the numbers are projected to be higher. And why is that? Because people are living longer, we're keeping our bodies healthy, but are we keeping our brains as healthy? Also, all the scans and tests that we have nowadays, we can find those, like the markers and the makeup for it, way ahead of time. Want to be proactive, if it's in your family, maybe those tests will be more available in the future. The more cases of dementia are going up, what are things that we're going to see in our community? So we're going to see caregiver burnout, because unfortunately not everyone may have the finances to place their loved ones in assisted living, or you know, there may not be availability in nursing homes and what have you. Unfortunately, that gets to a point, there's no more safety awareness, and that loved one can't be, you know, the loved one living with the memory care can't be left alone, and it falls on the caregiver. And we find, and studies show time and time again, that caregivers will pass away before the person actually with an ailment. It doesn't necessarily have to be Alzheimer's, but just being a caregiver is very burdensome. Again, you have to take care of yourself before you take care of others, and it's very hard to see sometimes when you're in the thick of it, and you can't see things around you. When you pop your head up, it's like, I'm not taking care of myself, and we hear that quite often. But his family members that come here and they say, I don't know what to do anymore. Their hands are up. I need help. And we're also going to see more calls to first responders. Say I had my husband, you know, was living with me, and was the one who helped me, right? He guided me. My husband's not here anymore. I'm still living at home. And I might wake up in the middle of the night, 2 in the morning. I might look over at my bathrobe that's hanging off of my door, and I might think that's someone in my room. Or I might hear something or think I see something, when in fact there's not anything there, but I'm scared, and I call 911 and I say, I need help, there's something in my house. I may have forgotten in 15 minutes, right? Because short-term memory is usually affected first. So I may forget that I've even called and someone's answering the door in the middle of the night, and now I'm scared. I don't know why this person, this police officer, is there. What if I get aggressive? And these things happen. Maybe the first responder's talking to this person, something's going on, this person's not making sense. Is something else going on? You know, maybe is this a drug-induced thing, right? Or is this more? It's so detrimental to pluck someone out of their environment and to send them in an ER. All you know, I hear some struggles is folks being stuck in the ER, right? You might be stuck in a hallway. There were some horror stories going on, especially during COVID time. People are in there for days and days and days, not getting showered. There's not volunteers, not enough help, and you hear beeping sounds and you have people rushing by. It's scary for the first of anyone, especially if you have something going on with your memory. It's very scary. That's why it's just so important to just take a step back and what are some things that they might feel. The person with dementia is not giving you a hard time. The person with dementia is having a hard time. You know, us as caregivers have to figure out what that problem is or what that need is, and we help them. We wanted to mimic what it's like for folks to have neuropathy. Neuropathy is like the pins and needles that you may get in your feet. It can be due to having diabetes, compromised blood flow. When you have vascular dementia, that's again with your body, with your blood flow. We're sleeping all night, right? You're getting them up for breakfast, and we're so task-oriented and we have things to do, right? We sit the resident up and we swing their legs over the bed and we say, all right, come on, let's go to breakfast. You did it in, 1 minute. You didn't give enough time for the resident to just kind of just sit up in bed, and then maybe you can slowly bring your legs over and let that blood flow go through all of your extremities, and then have them stand up. But with vascular dementia, you have a very shuffled gait. Some folks can't communicate if they're in pain either. They just have that shuffled gait due to the type of memory impairment you have. It can be due to having neuropathy. And a resident may not want to get up, and you may notice their gait. They could probably be in pain. So maybe just giving them the extra 5 minutes in the morning to, help them if you find that they struggle with walking right up in the morning, or their gait is off. If you don't allow that time, they also can fall. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to compromise our dexterity. monasteries. Place the gloves on your hands, and then we also tie rubber bands around the middle finger and ring finger. Again, it's to mimic what it's like if you have bad arthritis, you have trigger finger, locked joints. Our range of motion and our ability to do things, it gets harder and harder. Again, with the way that our body is responding, you know, to tell ourselves, open up your hand and close your hand. We tend to have a really hard time with our brain sending that hand the message. We'll pick things up by sliding versus picking up like this. So you'll notice when your gloves, your hands are compromised like that, it's easy for you to just kind of swipe. When you have dementia, right, you eventually, you know, you start sometimes in the early stages, and then we learn to try to adapt to their needs as they go through this journey. I was a lawyer, right? I wanted to dress very prim and proper every day, and I wanted to wear the buttons. I am having a hard time with my buttons now. You know, us as caregivers can say, all right, let me still honor who that person is, and I still want them to be able to do the things they could do, but maybe instead of the buttons, I get snaps. Because it's easy for us as caregivers to just do it for them. But they can still try to do it, and now you buy shirts that already have the buttons in it, but they can still do it. We can take over and do everything for them, but that's not helping them, right? We're deconditioning them. So again, as caregivers, we're trying to guide them through this whole journey. We're going to compromise their vision. A lot of us even now have glasses, especially our folks with memory impairment will lose their peripheral vision. So these sunglasses, when you open them up, they have a tinged yellow and purple. The purple on the outside is what compromises our peripheral vision. Like I said, a lot of our residents see almost like looking through binoculars. Also, you might have black spots and floaters. A common behavior our residents may see things that aren't there, whether that could be bugs or dirt on the carpet, and we see residents who go over and they're picking things up when in fact there's nothing really there, but it's just, again, it's something that they may see with an aging eye. With an aging eye, your optic nerve can tinge yellow. That is why we painted it yellow. The reason we have lime green and everything is because lime green is the last color someone with an aging eye can see. When you do something day in, day out, our residents can learn something new. Someone with memory impairment, it takes us 35 days to learn something new versus 21 days for an average healthy adult brain. And that's doing the same thing day in and day out, the same routine. And when the caregivers are wearing our lime green shirts, those residents, because they can see it even from down the hallway, teaching them that person in the green is here to help you. All right, now we're going to compromise kind of our breathing. So we put nasal clamps on. The reason we put a nasal clamp on, just like our ears, our nose does not stop growing as we age. So as the nasal passages, your nose is getting bigger, the nasal passages will get a little bit narrower, harder for our residents to breathe in and out of our nose. And so if it's harder for us to kind of take that deep breath in and out of our nose, we're breathing in and out of our mouth, and it's less oxygen getting to our brain, and it can kind of cause us to feel a little panicky, heart rate can go up. You also may just have an aging lung, you may have COPD, asthma, bronchitis. And the last thing that we're going to do is going to put sound canceling headphones on. Again, a lot of our residents, we lose our hearing, right? And we have to wear hearing aids. If you're in a very loud room wearing hearing aids, you're going to pick up conversations from all over the place. It's very overstimulating, it can be very distracting, it can be pretty aggravating too. And you'll hear residents say, oh my god, it's too noisy in here. You don't realize they're picking up other things. We move over to the side. Okay, read the book. I want you to get the deck of cards, give me the Queen of Diamonds, and then I want you to get a pad and paper, and I want you to tell me how you're feeling right now. All right? We have to hurry up. Do you remember what page number I told you?
Do you remember the page?
Yeah, I know the page number.
We're taking too long. Come on, your daughter's waiting for you. We have an appointment.
Yep.
All right, you're taking too long. I'll just do it for you.
What's the book we read every day?
We do this every single day.
Next to you. Isn't that supposed to be every day?
You say this.
Put on the shoes, use their trips.
So competitive. It's
Looking for the
Cards. You can take the cards out of here.
Come on, we do this every day.
Come on, we're gonna be late.
We're gonna be late for your
Alright, what card was it?
Do you remember what card?
Spades.
Oh, that's where Tommy's shirt went. All right, I'll just do it for you. Good job. You remember the last one? You're gonna find the pen and paper and write how you're
Come
feeling
on,
today.
take that pen and paper, write down what you're feeling.
Can they yarn you, Tom? You're gonna write how you're feeling today.
Shows a lot of feelings.
The only direction that I really care about is the last one, where it's find that pad and paper and write down how you're feeling. Now, everyone's gonna have different responses. I've had so many, but just a few of what we felt today is I feel overwhelmed and rushed. I can't breathe. I feel great. I can't breathe. It's bad, overstimulated, happy, am I done? Think about our residents. Now you feel quote unquote more normal. Our residents can never take these things off. So imagine living that 24/7. I'm not saying our residents have everything like that going on, but some of them do. And imagine having all of that going on and I'm trying to rush you and I'm telling you, let's do something. Maybe my brain, I know how to do it, but I'm shutting down, but I can't do it though. And know I need to do it, but I can't do it. It's just like aphasia. I want to say what I want to say, and I can't get those words out. So you get angry. I'm frustrated. Yes, these residents do feel overstimulated. They do feel angry. They may not be able to do everything, but we did things the wrong way, right? So I didn't go up to them. I didn't, introduce myself. I started right from talking right behind. I read everything at the same time, right? I didn't allow for one thing at a time. It's important for us to face that person, get down at eye level, especially if they're in a wheelchair. Say, hi, my name is Hannah. I'm here to help you. One thing at a time. Yes, it may be frustrating as a caregiver because you're doing these things every single day. It's getting harder each day. It's not getting better. You may feel really, really frustrated, and I'm just gonna do it for you. It's hard for us to want to do it, but it's not helping them. If you know that they're safe, maybe they just need to brush their teeth and they can do it. It just takes 5 minutes more. Okay, let them do it. If you're feeling you're really just like losing it, walk away because you know that they're safe. Do something else, center yourself, and then come back. We do it as parents, right? We feel like this a lot in our jobs. We teach this to caregivers. Life gets tough. Jobs get tough. Things get hard. Give yourself a minute. Walk away. Come back to it. Be aware of when you're touching someone. The use of unnecessary touch can have a bad reaction with someone. Like I was trying to tuck in their tags, things that I've done before really learning about this. Because I'm touching your tag, somebody scares me again. A lot of assisted livings, a lot of facilities have protocols. If someone shows quote unquote aggressive behavior, that it can be labeled, and on their files, and that can be so bad for a poor resident. They may be labeled for something that really wasn't their fault, because what if the caregiver, like I said, simply tucked in the tag and then I whacked them because you scared me, and then I got sent out, and all these things happen, because it does happen. Sometimes it can be a random situation where a resident might have shown some aggression or what have you, and now they can't find placement. Was that, was this a common behavior? Was this like a one-time thing? Was it our approach? Sometimes when sometimes when participants do something right, I say, oh, good job, sweetie. Good job, honey. Good job, dear. I'm not doing it I'm not saying it in a bad way, but it's terms of endearment. We want to stray away from that. It's not dignifying. And maybe my spouse called me honey and dear, and now I might show affection to the caregiver, not on purpose, but because you're calling me honey and dear. It's not my name. Only my family or my close ones called me that, and not professionals. Just things to be aware of. It's really just kind of helping and not doing it for them. Being a caregiver and having someone, losing someone to Alzheimer's or any type of memory impairment, it's really hard. It's some of the longest goodbyes because you lose that person twice. You lose who they used to be, and then, the new person they are and what they're going through.
Like, what are the signs that you would see, like, before it starts happening with the loved one?
So when I said that statistic where they say sometimes it's like 10 to 15 years, everyone's different, but something that I keep reading is that sometimes that person's like changing their just whole behavior. Maybe someone their whole life was never anxious, and all of a sudden now they're starting to change, their whole personality changing. They could just be getting older, but sometimes it's more than that. Just maybe quirky behaviors and just kind of being aware of that. The forgetfulness, just be aware of it. Cognitive impairment is not a normal part of healthy aging brain. That does not mean you have a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or something like that, but it's not healthy brain. So just being aware of, how is that person's short-term memory? Is it staying the same? Being aware, and just kind of monitoring them. Typically the first thing to go is the short-term memory. Sometimes it's odd behaviors. Is it kind of forgetting bills? Is it minor things that it can be easily dismissed? Does it keep happening? Is it becoming a new behavior?
Keep forgetting to, like, turn a stove off or, like,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you don't have someone there 24/7. Very important for them to have a secure neighborhood. We have these situations all the time. Someone can be very high functioning, completely normal, walks fine, talks fine, has good conversations. And this lady, she left her plastic coffee maker and she put the plastic part, whatever, on this stove. Caused obviously some type of small fire. The smoke, her daughter lived in the 3rd floor. The tenant was able to then help the mom and whatnot. It's like the daughter's like, I can't have that happen again. She didn't even know she did it. She said, it's fine. Well, it's not fine because she could literally die and kill someone else. We know it's hard for the resident because we're taking away a lot of their independence, maybe ability to drive. It doesn't matter. A lot of times a lot of anger behind it, but we're doing it for the better for them. I can't even tell you how many people who have diagnoses who are telling us that they're still driving. It's very scary, and you just have to be there to support it, because a loved one a lot of times gives the caregivers the hardest time. Pulls at our heartstrings because we say, human hearts caring for human hearts. And I feel for you, but you're doing it for the greater good of other things.
Just a comment
one, I appreciated what you said about like the buttons and making them still feel involved. I think that that's at least what I've seen Elizabeth specifically relative to hobbies. You know, she's part of having elder care coordinators asking about what their quality of life was like before they were diagnosed and what they used to enjoy. And Elizabeth does have a very creative brain as far as being able to figure out how do we do that in a more productive way so that they're still feeling involved in what their past life used to be. It's been something huge, even just being here, that's made me realize how important, you know, that aspect is. It's very frustrating as a caregiver to just want to do it all for them, that you have to remember that that person is still a person.
You can't be in their brains. They may be able to like understand what you're telling them, and they just kind of look at you with a blank stare. You know, I had a lady, and she was in her 90s. She owned her own pharmacy, and she was a pharmacist. Usually that was a more male-dominated industry, and she was a brilliant lady, and her daughter was calling her dumb. And I was like, your mom is so not dumb. Your mom is such a smart lady. She was like, she doesn't even know what a pencil is. It hurt me because I was like, she's very smart. She's very smart. She'll always be smart. That's why it's important for us to still honor it, like you just said. So that's why we like to know the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Someone who's like suffering with memory impairment, if they're not doing the things like the buttoning, and when they're not involved and like their caregiver is taken over, does that kind of aid like the deteriorating?
Absolutely. Literally deconditioning them. You have someone sit in a wheelchair and you're telling them not to get up. What's going to happen to your muscles? It's the same thing with your brain. You're not telling your brain to move. It's being affected by something that's deteriorating. It's going to be worse. Very hard for you to regain something. You address the pain and you get physical therapy. Sometimes you can get that resin to get a little bit more mobile.
But in that case, there are tools that we can use, you know, as loved ones, family members, professionals. The example you used of someone being a social butterfly and being a big talker, and now they have aphasia, which is a disorder that causes someone to not be able to communicate the way that they would want to. So instead of saying the sky is blue, they might be saying my dog is yellow. And they know what they're trying to say most of the time, but it's not coming out the same way. There's a lot of confusion and frustration. A lot of times I utilize things like Alexa devices with my clients. It's number one on my list of like must-haves in an assisted living and even in a nursing home. And what we do is we stream radio programs, music, audiobooks, all kinds of things that still are stimulating that part of your brain in information and trying to process it in a much less frustrating way and in a very passive way. And so they might be hearing that story completely different than you. Be listening to Charlotte's Web and not be hearing the same, thing that we would be hearing, but they're still processing that information, and that keeps those brain cells and those neural connections firing. Musical memory is something completely different than data memory. You may not remember who your daughter is. You may not know who your son-in-law is anymore, but that same tune that you heard over and over while you were playing piano lessons growing up is still there, and it's absolutely incredible. An anxiety relief that you'll see in clients. You'll see them smiling for the first time. You'll see them engaging with a caregiver. So there's so much that Lighthouse does that thinks outside of that box and really facilitates a quality of life for their clients. This is not just a rest home. They're resting certain aspects of themselves, but they're definitely not resting everything. And so they still maintain that productivity and that purpose.
Thank you both very much.
Yeah, absolutely. We love to do this. Hope that someone takes a few things from this. We have our brochures, we have our cards. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us.
The reason why I wrote happy is when I realized I found the page that you asked us to find, that I couldn't remember anything else you said. I was just stuck on that one thing.
Yes.
And then after I was putting out all these things, I had no idea why they were even in the bag, and I don't know what you asked me, so I know it was none of those things that I grabbed.
Yeah.
I could do something that I remembered and had to do. My nose, that was not fun. Very overstimulating.
Yeah.
Not being able to actually have my nose to breathe out of.
In an average life where it can be overwhelming and overstimulating for anyone, to add those ailments on top of it is just so much.
As I was saying, you all have a healthy brain and doing it.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you guys.